Okay, जी Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. कैसे हैं आप लोग? I hope you are doing well. Today we are going to talk about a very important issue, Tajikistan. Tajikistan, its political, economic, and strategic significance in the region. Why this country is important for a country like Pakistan, Afghanistan, and why it is significant in the region. So we need to understand about this particular country as well. So Kazakhstan, Tajikistan is a very another important country in the region, and as you can see, it share border with Afghanistan, China, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan. So very significant border. A border with us, second largest economy in the world means a lot for a country like Tajikistan, and this is the reason that their economy is improving with the passage of time. Another border is with Kyrgyzstan, which is not a hostile border, it's a friendly border. They also share border with Uzbekistan, which is kind of hostile border. And they also share border with Afghanistan, which is a difficult country, suffering from terrorism and extremism, drug trafficking, and refugees inflow. All these issues, Tajikistan face from Afghanistan. So primarily, it's a landlocked country in Central Asia, a small country with a very small, meager population, small economy, I would say, and they also possess, huge amount of water resources. Like for example, 60%, 65% of the glaciers of the region they are there in Tajikistan. So as a whole, Tajikistan is a significant player in the international politics, in the national, regional politics, and it is closely aligned with the Russians in the region. And as I told you before, that Russians dominate this region politically. So this was just a brief backgrounder of Tajikistan. It is a small country with 43,000 square kilometer area, and the languages spoken are Tajik, Uzbek, and Russian. And primarily, the major religion is Islam, but the government, it practices, secularism. So, and because of the Russian influence, they don't promote religious, especially Islamic values. Tajikistan's population is very small. According to 2021 estimate, it is 9.7 million. And population plays a very important role in country's foreign policy, its economic growth, and all these areas. So this is the reason that Tajikistan, despite having a very important position in the region, it lacks, its economy is not that vibrant, and the reason is simple, that they don't have enough labor force to contribute. If you compare it with China, they have got a labor force of about 800 million. So this is the reason that they are dominating the world economies. Nearly 54% of the population is between the age of 0 to 24, which is a young population. So most of their population is young, but it is a very small population, and their contribution is very small when it comes to their economic growth and global connectivity. Literacy rate is very good. This is close to 100%, but in an overall scenario, Tajikistan is a closed society controlled by an authoritarian leader. And since 1990s, this particular president is ruling this country under the influence of Russia. So that's why they could not, grow. 84% of the people in Tajikistan are Tajik. They are the leading ethnic group in Tajikistan. Then you got Uzbek, then you got Kyrgyz, and others. So predominantly, Tajikistan is predominantly it is Tajik state. So Tajikistan's strategic outlook for future talks focus on three main areas. They believe that there are a set of key strategic imperatives whose attainment can shape the country's regional geopolitical status and define its outlook. So through these three steps, Tajikistan can become a very important player in the regional and global setting. And these three things are hydropower generation, which is the most important asset of Tajikistan. As I told you before, 65% of glaciers of the region are in Tajikistan, which are the source of water and power generation. Then you got railroads, transportation, a new Silk Route initiative, and through these railway lines, they are connecting themselves not only with the regional powers but also extra-regional powers. And the third important area is illicit drugs and terrorism and extremism. Because they share border with Afghanistan, so this threat is also there. So they are playing a key role in countering terrorism and extremism and illicit drug trafficking, because they are also a route for the Afghan drug trafficking. So in this scenario, they are well connected with SCO. They are working with CSTO, and under the Chhatar Chaya of Russia, they are actually playing a very important role in curbing this particular menace. So these are the three main areas where they are working, and because of these three areas, they are important for the regional countries. So the first important thing, let's discuss now one by one. Their hydropower, which is very important, and hydropower generation in Tajikistan is, I think they are leading this region. The Sangota and Rogun hydropower plants are the core of these efforts, and both these power plants and both these hydropower power dams are very important for Tajikistan, and they ensure their independence in the energy generation. So Sangtuda, one hydropower dam was completed in 2009 with the help of Russia. Russia played a very important role, and they provided funding for that. And then Sangtuda 2 was completed in 2012 with the Iranian investment. Iran also came up with the investment in this region, and they also got 110 megawatt capacity. So it was a small scale investment, not a major one, but Iran is closely aligned with Russia, and this is the reason that they are also closely aligned with these regional powers like Turkmenistan and others. Uzbekistan, although they don't have a good relationship with Uzbekistan, and especially on the Rogun project, which was the dam project, they had some frictions, and Uzbekistan was, having some issues with them. But I think they are now resolving these issues with the intervention, with the mediation of Russia and China. So slowly and gradually, things are moving in favor of Tajikistan. If you look at the situation in Tajikistan, I told you before that 65% of the region's glaciers, they lie in Tajikistan. And according to the one expert's research, there are more than 13,000 glaciers in Tajikistan, 13,000 glaciers. The overall volume of glaciers is 850 square kilometer. The exponent may fall by one half until 2050, because they are also suffering from the global warming. And this issue is a serious one. And all these countries in the world, they are suffering from these issues. Then you got another important facet. For the past few years, the glacier has lost more than 2 kilometers of its total volume of 144 kilometers. So this is also something very, very important. This is another glacier, major glacier, which lost about 2 kilometers of its 144 kilometers. So this is a very dangerous, you can say, phenomena, and that is linked with global warming, and the whole world is suffering with that. Then you got, if you analyze the essential part of Central Asia, concentrated in Tajikistan, glacier melting is a huge threat. And this particular threat is actually threatening the peace and stability of the region, because if these glaciers are depleted, so the water source, the energy source, the agriculture of the region is going to suffer. So they are, facing all these threats. They are all these challenges. But Tajikistan is dominating the hydropower generation in the region. The Sangtuda Dam was built with the help of Russians, and at the cost of about $720 million, and it had capacity of $670 million megawatt. And it was, very significant project for the development of Tajikistan and their importance as an important country in the region. Then you got another dam, which was Sangtuda 2, was completed with the Iranian investment, as I told you before, and it was completed in 2012. So this particular dam